Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining me today because we have some very exciting General Hospital news to talk about, and it's definitely worth the wait. You know, I was sitting in my favorite chair the other day, sipping my coffee, when I saw the news about Cameron Mathison from General Hospital, and it just hit me right in the feels. Boy, I tell you, life sure knows how to throw a curveball when you least expect it. Cameron's been a big part of that show for so many years. And folks got real surprised when they heard he's stepping away for a while. Nobody knows exactly when he'll be back. When a reporter asked him why, the poor guy got all quiet and didn't quite know what to say. But you know how those reporters are? They dug around and found out what's really going on in his life. Turns out Cameron just went through a divorce with Vanessa, and now he's trying to figure out this whole new chapter. Back in July of 2024, they let everybody know they were splitting up. That's never easy, especially when there are kids involved. From what I understand, the children are staying mostly with their mom, and Cameron's been doing his best to make time to see them whenever he can, even with his busy schedule. I reckon that's got to be tough on a man's heart. When they first announced the separation, he was pretty open about how much it hurt and how he needed some space to heal. What really got to me was hearing him talk in that online event with Jenny Garth called I Choose Me. He sat down with Us Weekly and shared how he was feeling after the divorce. Cameron said straight out that ending the marriage wasn't his choice, but even so, he still cares about Vanessa and wishes her nothing but the best. That right there tells you what kind of man he is, classy, even when his heart's been broken. He also mentioned how important it is to keep things peaceful for the kids, and I think that's something we can all respect. Those little ones see their dad trying hard to hold on to love and family, even when things fall apart. Now here's the part that makes me smile a little, even though I know it's complicated. Cameron decided to dip his toes into the dating apps. Can you imagine that? A guy who's been married for years suddenly swiping left and right trying to meet someone new. He admitted it felt pretty overwhelming at first. He wasn't used to having to put himself out there like that. But he said he's met some wonderful people, and one of them has turned into something more serious. Still, he's honest about it. He's still working through the pain of a broken heart and isn't quite ready for anything too heavy just yet. I gotta say, watching all this unfold makes me think about how none of us really get through life without a few hard knocks. Cameron's out there doing what a lot of good men do after a tough time. He's trying to heal, stay close to his kids, and find a little happiness again. It's messy, it's real, and it's brave. I'm pulling for the guy. Life on and off the screen sure keeps us on our toes, doesn't it? You know, I was sitting right here in my favorite old recliner the other day, cup of coffee in one hand and my tablet in the other, just catching up on what's been going on with General Hospital like I do most mornings. Boy, I tell you, the news about Cameron Mathison really stopped me cold. After all these years of watching him bring Drew Kane to life on that show, folks were pretty shocked to hear he's stepping away for a while. And right now, nobody knows exactly when he'll be coming back. When a reporter asked him straight out why, Cameron got real quiet, kind of hesitated, and didn't seem to have an easy answer ready. But you know how those reporters are. They keep digging until they find the real story. Turns out the man's been going through quite a storm in his own life lately, and it just hit me right in the feels. Back in July of 2024, Cameron and his wife Vanessa let everybody know they were getting a divorce. That kind of announcement always lands heavy, especially when there are kids in the picture. From what I understand, the children are mostly staying with their mom, and Cameron's been doing everything he can to rearrange his busy days so he can still make time to see them. I reckon that's one of the hardest parts for any father, going from being there every single day to having to plan and squeeze in those special moments. When they first split up, he was pretty open about how much it hurt. He said he needed some space to breathe and start putting his heart back together. I've seen enough life go by to know exactly what that feels like. Sometimes a man just needs room to figure out who he is again after something big ends. What really touched me deep was when he showed up at that online conference called I Choose Me with Jenny Garth. He sat down and had a real honest talk with Us Weekly about what life has been like since the divorce. Cameron looked right into the camera and said straight from the heart that ending the marriage wasn't his choice. Even through all that pain, he made it clear he still cares about Vanessa and wishes her nothing but the best. Now, that right there tells you the kind of man he is, decent and kind, even when his world feels like it's falling apart. He also talked about how hard he's working to keep things peaceful and respectful between them, especially for the kids. He said those little ones really notice and appreciate when their dad tries to hold on to love and family, even after everything's changed. I gotta say, that part warmed my old heart more than I expected. In a world where so many folks let anger take over, it's good to see a man choosing the high road. After some time passed, Cameron decided to give those dating apps a try. Can you picture that? A fellow who's been married a good long while, suddenly jumping into the world of swiping left and right, trying to meet new people. He admitted it felt pretty overwhelming at first. He wasn't used to having to put himself out there like that, taking the first step and all. But he said he's met some truly wonderful women along the way, and one of them even started turning into something a bit more serious. Still, Cameron was honest as the day is long. He told folks he's still working through the heartbreak and isn't quite ready for anything too deep or committed right now. I smiled when I read that because it reminded me of how many good men I've known who've had to start over later in life. It takes guts to even try. And just recently, he came to another decision that I think shows real wisdom and strength. Cameron said he's stepping back from the dating apps for now. This is a bit much for me right now, he shared. I need time to heal and focus on taking care of myself. When I heard those words, I felt a whole lot of sympathy for the man. Going through a divorce, trying to be a steady dad, keeping up with work, and then trying to figure out love again all at once. That's a heavy load for anybody. A lot of us watching felt the same way. We see a good man who's been knocked down by life and is now choosing to stand back up the right way, one careful step at a time. And isn't it something how his real life seems to echo what's happening on the show right now? On General Hospital, his character Drew Kane is stuck right in the middle of some serious trouble. Poor Drew has been given this medicine by Willow that leaves him almost completely paralyzed. He can't do anything except blink his eyes. Turns out the drug came from Jen Sidwell, and it mimics the effects of a stroke. Willow is keeping him in that helpless state on purpose so she can shut him up and get what she wants. Their marriage on the show has completely fallen apart in the worst way you can imagine. It's the kind of storyline that keeps you glued to the screen, wondering what's going to happen next between those two. I'll be honest with you, I've been watching General Hospital for years, and seeing Cameron handle both his real-life challenges and these heavy storylines at the same time makes me respect him even more. Life isn't always fair, and sometimes it throws more than one storm at you at the same time. But the way he's choosing to slow down, take care of his heart, and give himself the time he needs, well, that's something a lot of us older folks understand. There's no shame in admitting you need a break to heal. In fact, it takes real strength. I'm sitting here pulling for Cameron Mathison, both the actor and the man behind the character. I hope he finds the peace and happiness he's looking for on the show whenever he comes back, and especially in his own everyday life. These kinds of real stories remind us that even the people we watch on television are just human beings trying their best, just like the rest of us. Life sure does have its twists and turns, doesn't it? But if there's one thing I've learned after all these years, it's that good hearts eventually find their way through the rough patches. Here's hoping Cameron's is one of them. You know, Cameron's real life problems aren't as dramatic as what's happening to Drew on the show, thank goodness. But that doesn't mean they don't hurt. Divorce, missing his kids, and starting over after so many years still bring him real pain. Even so, I admire how he's handling it, stepping back from dating apps, focusing on healing, and putting his children first. I'm rooting for him. I hope he finds peace and happiness again, both on General Hospital and in his own life. Life has its tough seasons, but good men like Cameron usually come through them stronger. God bless him.